What I want to talk with you about today, Joni, is submarining. Now, why is that important? Well, because it really screws with your mind. Thank you so much for joining us today on Second Act TV. I am so happy to welcome back Joni Caldwell Lerner. Wait for it, the author of Stop, Look, Choose Your Journey to Peace and Freedom. Joni, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for that intro to the book too.
We're going to be talking a lot about your book on this show. Essentially, it's a guide, it's a workbook to working on yourself, creating the life that you want. What I want to talk with you about today, Joni, is another of our dating dilemmas. By now everyone has heard of ghosting. Well, a
Mm-hmm.
new what they're calling the cousin or stepchild or something of ghosting is submarining. So I actually had not heard that term. Had you heard it?
Nor had I. I had not. Yes, which is I love doing things that I either have not heard about and I assume if I haven't heard it, then a lot of people haven't heard it. And so let's dig in and let's dive in.
Oh, pardon the pun. That's really
Yeah,
funny.
no pardons.
So submarining, what is submarining? Well, basically is when you're dating someone and all of a sudden they disappear, for no reason, no reason,
Mhm.
like ghosting.
Mhm.
However, they all of a sudden come back like nothing has happened and expect to be accepted back in your life without any sort of explanation. Now, why is that important? Well, because it really screws with your mind.
Well, yes, I think the two words that came up as you were speaking is disrespect. It's very disrespecting of the person that with whom you're in a dating relationship. And two, with women, oftentimes we go to, what did I do wrong? Like play back that last conversation, that like reread the last text. What did I say something? Did I do something wrong? And we tend to be overly accountable sometimes. And I do have a client right now. This is exactly what she's going through.
I think that a lot of these terms, or that we come up with, we come up with, but that come up every year. It's behavior that has existed, sure, and I'm sure this has too. I think it's more pronounced now because
Mhm.
the digital dating, online dating makes it so much more prevalent. So if you're experiencing this, and I want to talk about three big signs that you might be being submarined, and the first one here, she calls here today, gone tomorrow, and that's basically the definition we gave. You're going along, everything is great, all of a sudden they're gone, just no sign. Then they pop back up with
Mhm.
no explanation,
Mhm.
and the anxiety that can cause is just, it's horrible.
Well, it's probably part of it is that it's not, if a person has values
Mhm.
and those values are respect of other people and kindness and communication and all those things, it's going to be very confusing if someone just submarines, they just disappear for no reason without any inkling or indication that this was coming. It's very confusing and discombobulating. It's interesting because I think of people as kind and having my best interests at heart, which is not always true, but I'm projecting that onto them.
Mhm.
So if we in dating project onto this person that they're going to be respectful and have the same values or at least the same communication that we have, and then they just disappear,
Mhm.
it's very confusing.
Oh yeah, it
And
must be our fault if we're projecting our values onto them. Then we, of course, we did something wrong,
yeah, what have we
right?
done? And what you said about the dating, I mean, so much of this online social media stuff that's happening right now, the negativity, they're hiding behind the computer. It's not okay. I think we need to return to just basic respect for one another.
The obvious question that comes to mind when we talk about this, why do people do this? And it doesn't really matter, actually, is the answer. Because if this is being done to you, it's something that you just need to ultimately confront. But you have to be able to recognize it. And that's why I think these signs are so important to be aware of, that this is not you. This is something that's happening to you. So number two here, the next, now I've never heard of this, the art of Scottish showers. I want to ask our viewers, have you ever heard of Scottish showers? Are you and I the only ones that have never heard of this?
I don't know. I mean, it's again, these things have been happening and now they're giving them terms. The good news about that is that invited us to come in and shine a light on this stuff.
Yeah. Well, the Scottish shower, apparently the sign here is that your partner is all sweet, everything is wonderful. And maybe they don't disappear, but all of a sudden their whole mood changes. There can be all kinds of psychological reasons behind that, but it's that ongoing pattern of being very responsive, being happy-go-lucky, having fun. All of a sudden, boom, your mood has changed. They're ignoring you.
Here's the common thread between the Scottish showers and the submarining, right? Is that they don't get called out on it. So your job out there, viewer, is to say, what are you doing? What's going on? Yesterday was all puppies and flowers, and today my experience of you today is that you're distant and is there something going on? Are you having a bad day? What's going on? And you confront it. When they come back from submarining, you don't just go, oh, thank goodness you're back. You say, what? Seriously, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Well, I was very busy. Seriously, let's talk about that, because this is not going to work.
As we talk about this, it's like, well, why would you not confront this? And when I think about this, and I think back of my early days when I was a young lady, I remember being like totally in love with this guy, and he came and went out of my life without an explanation. But I was like so, into this, and every time he did appear, I was just so happy. I wasn't going to be uncool and be a bitch and confront him.
Yes.
So
right. So it's trying to manage how we're seen, wanting approval, and then we just want to be loved. Oh, he's back. Yay.
Yeah.
And so it takes that clear knowingness of who you are in the world and what you want in relationship, and being willing to let go of the crumbs. You deserve a banquet.
Well,
Start
and you brought up
choosing
crumbs. Yeah, crumbing it is kind of like that. It's another, breadcrumbing. That's what it is. Yeah, there's another. It's kind of like, really kind of like submarining, I guess. It may always amazes me how ridiculous some of this sounds when we first read it, and then the more you think about it and apply it to yourself and your history, this is so relevant and so important that we don't mess up our minds over this.
Yes.
And that's one thing I want to drive home, is that you're not doing something wrong.
So one of the reasons second act TV is critical is because there are people out there who are living in a vacuum, and they think they're the only ones to whom this is happening.
Yeah.
And they find your show, and then it's like, oh, light bulb, that emoji, mind blown. Whoa, I'm not alone. And here's what it is, and here's a solution. And then they get to, like the book, stop, look, choose. I just want to say that that's one of the reasons I think your show is so popular.
Well, thank you, Joni.
Well, it changes people's lives. I know, because your people are coming to me for coaching. So I get the feedback about you and your show. So I want you to know that.
Well, thank you. And you brought up a good point, is that eye-opening stuff, because that's why I started second act, because my eyes were just opened after 50, after I left them, finding out that I was not alone in my thoughts and my desires and my needs. And it was just like, you're kidding me. And that's why I thought this was necessary. So again, thank you for saying that. And I agree with you.
Well, also, and you epitomized this, is that you weren't saying it's their fault, it's his fault, it's his fault. You were saying, oh, whoa, I see where I've done that. Oh, I did that too. Or wow, I'm going to change that going forward. Right. That's what we're all doing.
Well, back to submarining here.
Sorry.
One of the big signs. No, I took us off track here. one of the big signs is actually one of the big excuses that when you do confront them, you get up, the nerve to confront them, and well, hey, what the F? The number one reason, oh, I've been so busy. I've just been so busy. A total lack of accountability.
So let's talk about that. Yes, that is a way of being unaccountable. I'm too busy, or I got distracted, or whatever it is. If it smacks of unaccountability, huge red flag, number one. And we get to call people out. Hopefully we call ourselves out on our own foibles or things that we need to work on. But if somebody is blatantly disrespecting, blatantly disappearing, and then coming back as if nothing is untoward, we get to say something. And if they say, oh, I was, no, I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. So what's really going on underneath that?
Right.
And
right.
usually it's their own insecurities. It's their own issues.
No, exactly. And this also leads into even worse behavior, like gaslighting, or I was just so busy, or they dismiss why you're upset about it. Oh, you're just overreacting. Well, I didn't realize you wanted. You're just overreacting is another real good one. Or I didn't realize you were waiting for me to respond. Or then, as it's referenced here, it's almost gaslighting that you're too sensitive. This didn't, just totally dismissing what your feelings are about this and what they're doing. Again, that is so bad on your own mental health that you need to be aware of this.
One of the things that I recommend to people is they really begin to pay attention to how they're feeling. If it feels like a clunk, there's something there. Trust that. Don't reframe it so that you can stay in the relationship because you're afraid to not it's like a bird in the hand kind of thing. So at least I'm not alone. He may come and go. Really? So then work on your self-esteem, work on your self-worth, because everybody out there is worthy of a healthy, loving, present connection.
Yeah, you really brought up a good point that might be worth thinking about. And that is, can you be okay with that? Maybe you like I was with that, the guy that, when I look back at that, it never worked out. I was looking back, it was wrong. But at the time, I did enjoy him coming back. We had fun for a week or so, and then he was gone again. I guess if you're okay with that, if you're listening and you can relate, like I did when we brought this up, I guess as long as you realize that this isn't, a steady relationship or the relationship you want,
right?
You can protect your sanity that way. What do you think about that?
As long as it's the truth, as long as it's authentically the truth that it's okay with you, because there are all kinds of variations and manifestations of relationship. Some people are polyamorous. They're totally okay with that. Some people are very monogamous. They're okay with that. Some people like constant contact. That's their barometer. So whatever is true for you, and as you said, it could have been the time of life. It could have been the age you were. It could have been so many things. When I first started dating after being married for so long, for those of you who don't know me, I was married almost 30 years. And so dating was bizarre. One, I didn't know if I was attractive or what I was doing. Two, I had no idea how to navigate online dating and catfishing and all the things. And three, I didn't want to get into a relationship immediately. It really wasn't what I was looking for. So I was clear about that. At least I was clear about that. And I was clear with them. And people would get upset with that, but I was honest. It's like, I'm really not looking for a relationship. So the point is, figure out what you want. That's the barometer, or that's the measuring stick for you. But if you're looking for a true companionship and company, a monogamous relationship, and this is not aligned with that, then you have a right to say it's unacceptable for me.
Yeah.
Blessings be upon you. Go your separate way.
Yeah, exactly. And again, the reason that, I think we both felt this is important to talk about because
Mhm.
unfortunately it is so prevalent because of the
I know.
environment that we're
I know.
in. And so if somebody is totally dismissing the way you're feeling about this and you're nervous, you're anxious, you're blaming yourself, you're questioning yourself, it's time to walk away. It's a
Yeah,
toxic
yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
Uh,
You are not disposable.
right,
Your time is your life energy, folks.
right.
Your time is precious. Nobody gets to waste that. Nobody, including you.
Well, and if you're wondering if this is all there is to life, then you pick up Joni's book, her new book. Again, I'm so proud of you
Thank you. Thank
for
you.
for having that. I mean, that it really it's this sort of support that helps us get to a place where we can implement a lot of the stuff that we're talking about and have our
Yeah.
confidence, our self-respect, our
Hmm.
value, both men and women, and find that love we really want. Joni, is there anything else you want to add before I sign off here?
Well, I just want to piggyback onto what you were saying about the book because the book for me is how do I reach more people? People
Mm-hmm.
can't always afford coaching.
Mm-hmm.
People don't always have access to me.
Mm-hmm.
How do I reach more people
Mm-hmm.
so that they get it's coaching in a book and it's on
Mm-hmm.
their own time and they can go as deep as they want or as shallowly as they want. But
Mm-hmm.
it's an interactive workbook with affirmations, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, all the links, of course, will be in the show notes to the book, to Joni's coaching page, to your podcast, Wake Up with Joni. And
Thank
Joni, I
you.
look forward to our next conversation on Second Act TV.